I'd like to call this meeting to order. Present and voting are Dean Nason, Doug Lee, Chris Siri, Pete Chalecki, Richard Morrell. Also present will be Nicholas Fortson, and a new member to our commission, Helen Riley. Quorum is in order, and we need to have someone approve the minutes from last month or 2 months.
Hi, this is Chris. So move.
This is Doug, second.
All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Chris, aye.
Pete, aye.
Rick, aye.
Dean, aye. And so white rice is probably the project. Yeah.
So moved. Communications.
The only one I have is the mail that I just gave you. It's the dedicated land use law for municipal land use agencies, boards and commissions. It's going to be an online webinar on Saturday, March 22nd. When I get an email closer to it, I'll forward it along to all of you.
It's actually also a list of various meetings, and I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of it. Old business, IWW number 24-12, 70 Yantic Lane.
This is an application for maintenance activities, including removal and disposal of silt buildup and regrading of overgrown vegetated areas in a drainage pond on site to improve water flow and quality. It's proposed land disturbance activities within a regulated wetland and associated upland review area. Application and property of Michael and Kathleen McCormick, Assessors Map 57, Block 1, Lot 6, Zone R20. And we have the homeowners here tonight that have a presentation for you.
Good evening. So I've never done this before, so bear with me if I'm doing something else. On the presentation, the first part of the presentation, what I'd actually like to show them, can you pull this aerial up?
Yes.
So you can see this aerial, you can see clearly the intrusion of the pond of the silt plume from the culvert that goes under our driveway, where it is all washed down from the hill. I'm not sure of the age of this picture, but it's pretty accurate as to what's taking place right now. I would say that we've had even more silt washed in since then. So the problem is, if you look at the presentation that I brought, page 1, right here, you can see all the vegetation that's growing in there. There's cattails growing in there. There's some duckweed. There's a bunch of reeds, phragmites. It's all kind of growing in there. So, you know, our intent is to clean the pond and clean up the property like we've done with the rest of the property. So that's the intent of it. So going to the second page of the presentation. This is looking from the driveway north towards the dam. And this is where I'd be loading and loading, you know, the dredging and the loading of the dump truck would be right along here on our driveway, so there wouldn't be any interference with traffic. Dan has recommended that we put a tracking net to eliminate silt, and that would be located in this area also. This area is the ideal area for us because the rest of the property is steep, or it's got trees in it, or the dam on the northern side. So this is what makes the most sense. So we would install a tracking net, probably would also install some hay bales. You know, so if there is additional material, we'll be continuing within that. That's acceptable to you guys. And then when, you know, if the dump trucks are loading, we take it out of there, put it in the dump trucks. Next one. This is a view of the dam on the north side of the property. So more of the vegetation growth. I also would like to note that where that gazebo is, behind it is the deepest spot of the pond, And for dewatering purposes, if we need to do that, there's only about a foot or maybe 6 inches of water in there right now. Looks a lot more. So I would dig a sump there. And then I would pump it. I use a filtration system like a perf pipe with fabric to filter it and return it down into the stream that goes below the dam. That's how you drain it. You asked about that as well, I think, right? Dewater it.
The city engineer did, yep.
Yeah, so dewatering, that's how that would take place if necessary. That's how we'll do it. Okay, the next slide or picture. This is a view of the culvert from the driveway looking west. It gives you a little bit of a better idea of the slope of the loading and unloading area. You know, it seems that that's more of an ideal spot than anywhere else around the perimeter of the pond. And I think the next one is just a more of a close-up of that. Clearly, you can see there's less of a slope there. So there was also a question regarding what are we going to do with the sediment? So I talked to Jay Doubleday, who was recommended by the city engineer, one of the contractors that he recommended. And Jay said if he was to do the job, he'd be bringing it to a farm in Franklin, basically laying it in a cornfield, and that would be it. So that's what I got on Jay today.
What type of equipment are you talking about using?
I would imagine it's going to be a larger excavator,
Okay.
you know, a series of dump trucks. Obviously, you're going to have to hire a couple of people. You know, you're not going to shuttle one dump truck back and forth all the way to Franklin. That'd take forever. I would believe that would be his plan. We kind of briefly discussed that a while back.
Did he have an estimate of how much fill would be removed?
I had an estimate, I think it was 1,200 yards, Dan. So I want to bring the pond to a mean depth of about
1,300 cubic yards.
Yeah, I want to bring the pond to a mean depth of about 4 feet. Obviously, it's going to taper from the sides down into the middle. Right, so I calculated it out and it came to like, what'd you say?
1,290.
1,300 yards, which is about 100 dump trucks. It's 100 loads. I figure it's going to probably take the 25, 5 loads a day, 25 loads a week, working weeks, maybe about 3-4 weeks to do the job.
Are there any questions from the commission?
This is Chris. No, the two questions I had were already asked.
Dean, any questions?
I had a couple, has work to this pond and dam ever been done before? And if so, how long?
I don't personally know. I don't know.
So that's unknown to me. I just purchased a
Yeah,
property 2 years
that's what I
ago.
got from you, but I didn't know if you knew any of the history.
And I
The
really,
silt is coming
it's coming off the hill.
off the hill.
Yannick Lane is
Yes,
very
it's a
steep.
big hill, yeah.
So the problem is, there's infrastructure on the road to contain runoff,
Yeah.
but it doesn't contain all of it. Matter of fact, I would say it contains less than maybe 10% of the runoff. The rest of it comes off the hill. And man, I'll tell you, I had some videos last winter. I wish I kept them, but I did. It actually overflowed the dam. You know, when we had the flooding, the Yannick River overflow, it overflowed the dam. It was a little bit of a scary situation. And that's when I wrote the town, about, are you guys gonna take care of this? And they're like, well, it's your property, you gotta take care of it. Okay, I'll take care of it. And I plan on, It's a little bit, I'm not gonna say it's a danger to the public at this time, but if we continue to fill in, there's gonna be no buffering capacity for the pond. Whenever it rains, it's just gonna overflow. So that's my concern, anyway.
So it kind of functions as auxiliary drainage coming down the hill. And it's just filled in over time.
Like a rain garden?
Yeah, I mean, if you look uphill from their driveway, you can see it's coming down.
There's 3 culverts that feed that from my side, from less than 100 yards away. There's 3 culverts that go under other people's driveways. And actually, there's one that goes from the west side of Yannick Lane to the east side.
Wonder if there was cross.
There's 3 culverts that feed that, my pond, 3 of them. So, and they were literally gushing this high. Pressure was such that they were gushing this high out of the ground. It was significant.
And you hope this remedy is gonna last
I
a lifetime?
Well, I actually put in my proposal that I will hope it'll last at least 10 years.
10.
I mean, I'm not really sure how long it was. I don't know what the depth of the pond, when I first bought the property, the pond was probably a foot deep, maybe a foot and a half. I used to have ducks and herons, so you can kind of gauge by the herons. But now it's down about between 6 inches and a foot in most places. Where that gazebo is, where I showed you, it's a little deeper there.
Yep.
That's why I'm gonna put this there.
Doug, do you have any questions?
No, I do not have any questions of the applicant.
Peter?
I do have a question for the applicant. Does the pond receive any storm water from the road and from the catch basin system, or storm system that conveys water from the roadway in any way?
No, Peter, the storm system, infrastructure on the road is independent of the storm, of what I get washed into my yard or in my pond. It's a closed system and it heads down Yannick Lane. I don't know where it drains out, but I've actually been out there in the rain looking at it, to determine if what you're asking was true, and it's not true. It does not feed my pond whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris,
Nope, no further questions.
do you have any comments, Dan?
No, I'll just run through my memo real quick.
Okay.
Most of it was answered. The only things I would note are, if you're planning on storing anything that was dredged out before it goes in a dump truck, I know the plan is to take it out, put it right in the truck. But if you're gonna have some kind of stockpile, we'll need some erosion and sedimentation controls around it.
That's
You
fine.
don't want it to wash back in.
No,
anyway, just
absolutely. I
take it
don't
out.
want to do that. That's, counterproductive. I was thinking of just keeping a stock of hay bales on the property. Maybe building like a little coffer dam with the hay bales, and if I need to store, material in, I can just put it inside that, square or whatever shape it happens to be.
Yeah, we just come out and take a look and
Yeah,
make sure they
that's
were
fine.
safe and all that.
So do you want me to construct it ahead of time, or do you want me to just have the hay bales there in case I need to construct it? I can go either way, it doesn't bother.
I have to leave it up to the commission, really.
It doesn't really matter to us.
I don't, if you feel like it's gonna happen and need to happen, then we can come out and
Yeah.
take a look, but I don't.
I don't anticipate it happening, what I
Yeah.
mean? I'll probably have one guy working the excavator, maybe, like I said, a train of dump trucks.
Yeah,
I'm
that's how
assuming that, you're gonna fill one, the next one's gonna pull up, he's gonna take off, you're gonna fill that one. By the time you fill maybe 1 or 2, the other guy should be back.
right.
So I'm assuming, I'm assuming it'd be more of a linear fashion than, interrupted, but it's not to say that it couldn't happen.
If you feel that at some point in time it will happen,
Just
let
give me a
staff
call.
know.
I certainly will.
Do you see runoff coming out of the trucks as it's being loaded? Understand what I'm saying? You're putting silt
Well, we-
in, water running out.
We can only dewater it so far.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. Maybe in the
Yeah.
beginning when it's more sloppy, but as you get down, I'm assuming it's gonna be more of a, of a solid than a mud. So I don't really know the answer to that.
Well, I don't see a need for that retention or control in the beginning when it's slopping out of the truck and rinsing.
Yeah, and we'll have them set up something.
Right, he's gonna
In
track
that
mat.
state.
Well, we're gonna use
area,
that tracking,
yeah,
man.
exactly.
I already looked it up. You can buy it on 7x19.
Yeah. And then your hours that you plan on.
Just
having
regular working hours. I don't plan on working earlier in the morning or later in the afternoon.
Okay,
So let's say, maybe 8 to 5.
Okay. And I think the only other thing was, are you gonna put anything in the spillway just in case things that get disturbed so they don't wash further down?
Well, I thought about that question, right? And the pond has been acting as a filtration system. That's why all the silt is in the pond. It's not really washing down. So I have no intention of like disassembling the spillway in any way, shape or form. And if you can't really see it, but where the dam is on the north side.
Yep.
There's a buildup right there of where the silt, you know, where it didn't drain out. It just like mounded right there. So I don't really, I'm not really sure how I would do that. You know, I mean, I know if I'm gonna, when I pump it out to dewater it, I know that perf pipe and, you know, fabric is gonna be a good filter. I'm not sure that I should do that on the dam. Cause
Okay.
it might, you know, the structure might, you might compromise the structure of the dam if I get too much pressure pushing against it, you know.
Okay.
I'm not
I guess
really sure.
my only comment would be keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye on it.
Just
Absolutely.
give us a shout.
I don't think we've washed too much product, you know, too much silt out
No,
of that pond.
it looked clean when
Yeah.
we were out there.
Yeah.
So. I would just note that if someone decides to make a favorable motion, I have a number of bullet points here. That's to waive the reading of them, but they'd be included in a motion. And a reason to state on the record is the proposed DNS controls are adequate to protect the area.
So I guess we need to, if there are no further comments, if there's a motion to decide whether or not this is a significant activity, which would need a public hearing.
I'll make a motion saying that a public hearing is not necessary.
Is there a second?
Doug, second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Doug, aye.
Chris, I.
Pete, aye.
Dean, I.
Rick, aye, unanimous, so moved. Is there a motion to approve?
We have to,
Does Chris so move?
It's Chris.
motion to,
Chris, you want to add to your,
Oh, yeah,
the
with
the
Dan's comments.
conditions.
The reason? The reason would be the proposed DNS controls are adequate to protect the area.
Oh, didn't hear you, Chris.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, with the reasons that Dan mentioned for control.
Is there a second?
Doug, second.
All in favor?
aye. Dean,
Chris, I.
Yep.
Doug, aye.
Pete, aye.
Rick, aye, unanimous, so moved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be in touch.
okay,
Any other business, Dan?
Nope, I don't have any new applications.
And no violations this month.
Not this month, definitely next month.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Doug, so moved.
Chris, second.
All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Chris, I.
It's unanimous.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Happy holidays.
Yes, thank you.